Hey guys, Yuvraj here from the Brainstorm Force team, makers of the Astra theme for WordPress. And since it's a Monday, that means one more episode of WordPress Weekly Roundup is here, where I collect all the interesting updates that happen in the WordPress world, SEO, PPC, Google search, social media, and some other topics that you should care about, or I think what you will care about. So this episode is jam-packed with information about WordPress, interesting updates that happen to one of our products or few of our products, and also tons of updates happening in the Google ecosystem. So make sure to watch the complete video. Timestamps will be in the description. Chapter markers should be visible on the video player itself. So make sure to use that, or also links to all the stories that I talk about will be in the description as well. So if you want to read the full story, make sure to check out the description. So let's get started. So talking about the first story for the day is regarding one of our products, which is the Astra theme. Now, as you can probably see, this is not a brand new update, but this is just a reminder that a lot of people might have missed out on. So we recently released Astra 3.7 with a bunch of exciting updates, which includes global colors, saved color palettes, button and typography presets. So these are some amazing updates which make the process of designing websites a lot easier. So we did a couple of videos about it, and the entire blog post is about this entire update. So if you haven't checked out the update, go make sure to check it out. Links will be in the description to this video as well, or you can check this out on the channel, and link to the blog post will definitely be in the description. So that's the first update with regards to Astra, but that's not the only interesting thing happened at Brainstorm Force. We recently acquired a brand new company, or I'd say not a brand new company, but a brand new acquisition happened at Brainstorm Force, and we recently acquired Project Huddle, and they are joining the Brainstorm Force family. Now, if you don't know what Project Huddle is, I did make a video about it, introducing it, announcing the update, and it is a product which allows you to visually collect feedback from your clients. Now, if you're a freelancer, developer, you know the pain of collecting feedback, right? Emails, DMs, references that get lost. So this product or Project Huddle makes it really, really easy for you to collect feedback from your clients in a visual manner. And the best part is that you can connect this service to tons of your clients and collect all the feedback in a single place, and your clients do not have to use any other product. They can just do or collect or share all the feedback right from their website. So this includes a little bit of demonstration, the first video that I did on the announcement page. So make sure to check it out. I'll leave a link down in the description. And if you're a freelancer, developer, agency, then you should definitely check it out. We have some exciting offers running, which might be already gone. So make sure to check this product out and test it out for yourself if it makes sense to you. So coming to the next story for the day is about the next generation of WordPress default themes that was recently announced. Now, it's not been launched yet, it's just been announced. So it's the 2022 theme, no surprises there on the name. But what was surprising was, or what was refreshing was the actual design of the theme. So now you probably know that the default themes have a typically a unique sort of design. But 2022 surprised me in the way that the design is definitely unique, but it is very customizable, and you can use it on a variety of in a variety of ways, and definitely it's a block-based theme. So it's exciting to see interesting changes coming to the WordPress 2022 theme. And this has again not been released yet. They're developing it right now, but they've been announced it, or the design, I'd say the mock-ups or the designs are out. So you can check it out, and just let me know what your comments are about this theme. I personally like it very much, at least for basic looking sites, but I'll have to get my hands on it to share my honest opinion about the theme. So that's the interesting story for WordPress 2022 theme. Talking about the next story is about WordCamp. Now, I've been talking about WordCamp for quite some time in previous 2 to 3 WordPress weekly roundups. And I did mention the last week as well that WordCamp was near. So WordCamp 2021 had more than 3,600 attendees attending the WordCamp. So exciting. I'd say the event would have been exciting. I did attend or intend to watch the entire thing, but I could not due to time constraints. So if any of you have attended the event, make sure to leave some of your details or some of the things that you found interesting in the comments. I'd love to read them. So those are the interesting updates about WordPress that happened in the previous week, but there have been tons of updates in the Google and the Google Ads ecosystem. So make sure to watch the entire video. So the first interesting update is the announcement or officially announcement of Google Analytics 4. So Google Analytics 4 has a lot of interesting updates, but the most interesting update that I saw was that introducing or inclusion of a data-driven attribution model. So in the previous WordPress weekly roundup that I did mention that Google Ads was also moving away from a last click attribution model to a data driven attribution model. And the same thing is coming to Google Analytics 4. So they have a bunch of interesting updates. They have machine learning models to fill in the measurement gaps, which is obvious, which is kind of what data driven attribution means. And they also have a search console integration, which was previously limited in Google Analytics 3, but I'd love to see how the update is in with Google Analytics 4. So I'll leave a link down to this story particularly, which has a lot of additional details about what changes are coming. And of course, if you're using Google Analytics, which you should be using, we did a couple of videos about how to integrate Google Analytics to your site, then you should see or experience those changes for yourself. So coming to the next interesting story is about AMP. So AMP has been in the news for quite some time. Something happens. So this time what happened is AMP links were completely broken, or still are completely broken, with iOS 15. So if you have an iPhone, an iPad, maybe not a MacBook, but yeah, any tablet or I'd say mobile phone device coming from Apple, and you update it to iOS 15, you might have noticed that any links that appeared as AMP links in Google search did not work. That means the link actually worked, but it did not take you to an AMP page. Instead, it would have taken you to a regular page, or if you had an app installed, let's say Amazon, then it would directly take you to the Amazon app if you had the app installed. So this has been acknowledged by Google, but when will it be fixed? It's not likely, or I'd say there's no ETA right now, but it is intended, of course, Google intends to fix it. So what it matters to you. So if you are a website owner and you had certain percentage of traffic coming in from iOS devices from AMP, you might see difference in your analytics reports like that. So make sure to understand that why this is happening. If you just suddenly see AMP traffic dropping on iOS devices, don't be worried. It's a bug that should be fixed very soon. So coming to the next interesting update is with regards to Google Merchant support. So if you're a Google merchant and you use the Google Shopping feed, so good news for you guys. Google Merchant Center now allows just one feed for all countries. So instead of having to upload individual feeds for all countries that you wanted to advertise in, now you can upload just one feed for all countries. So that's some exciting, and I say big sigh of relief for a lot of advertisers who use Google Merchant Center. Coming to the next interesting update is about Google Search Console. So Core Web Vitals, you might be seeing Core Web Vitals data in Google Search Console for quite some time now. But what has happened is now Google Search Console is including or showing additional granular data inside Google Search Console. So for example, if you check out a URL group which has a certain kind of metric, or I'd say certain kind of performance, where Google is grouping those data in, you might see additional details like this with regards to the URL group itself. So those are interesting metrics to see, and definitely this helps in understanding the metrics better and also resolving issues if you see any kind of issues coming up with Core Web Vitals. So that's an interesting update for the day as well. Coming to the next interesting update is with regards to Google Adsense, and this is a huge one. Google has tried to underplay it, but I think this is a huge update in Google Ads. So what Google Adsense is saying, or Google is saying, that Google Adsense is supposed to move to first price auction, and saying expect no impact, which I am not really sure about. And what this means is, let me explain a little bit. I'm not a Google Ads expert, but I understand the concept of first price and second price auction. So what usually happens is, or what happens currently is that the auction system, that if you want to bid on a certain keyword, or in Google, I'd say the display network. So you submit a bid, and whoever wins the bid gets the display, right, or gets the impression. But how this auction works, or how much you pay for the auction, depends on the model, which is currently the second price model. So let's say you bid $10 for an impression, which is like a lot, but just go with it. So let's say you bid $10, but the second advertiser who is just next to you just bid $1. So if you, of course, you will win the auction because you're betting 10 times more than the second guy. But what happens is, you did not pay $10, you just paid a little higher than $1, right? So this made sure that nobody overpaid for any of the keywords, and this also ensured that you could, if you really wanted traffic, you could just bid as high as possible, and you would always pay just a fraction higher than what the second person bid. So now Google is changing the pricing model for this, changing it to first price auction. What this means is, if you bid $100 and the second guy bid 1 cent, you would still pay $100 for whatever you are bidding on. So Google is saying expect no impact, but I'm not really sure about that. And if you're an advertiser, make sure or be aware about what changes are coming. And with regards to publishers who make money with Google AdSense, I don't know about the impact. I am not an expert on Google AdSense or making money from AdSense. So if your website is monetized and if you see any impact, make sure to let me in the comments what differences you're seeing in your earnings report in Google AdSense. Definitely a big move by Google. And will it be welcome, or will it be detest it, that remains to be seen. So coming to another interesting update with Google is that another update may be rolled out on Google 6th or 7th of October, which is just a few days ago. So this keeps happening almost every week or every second week. I report a Google update. So this is based on some metrics that a lot of individuals and a lot of companies track. So this might not be confirmed by Google itself, but based on the chatter that was happening, how the updates are rolling out, this might be an update. So just to clarify, Google does update Google search algorithm at least 500 times a year. So even a small change. So technically there's more than one update a day, but many of those updates don't make a big difference in the Google search. So that's why maybe a weekly update is not a huge deal considering 500 updates a year. So coming to the next interesting story about Google search again is that if you remember, I've been reporting Google title changes, that Google is now rewriting your titles in the search results. So Google just published an interesting blog post on the Google Search Central blog in the advanced SEO section, which is about control your title links in search results. So Google is trying to tell you that how you can write your title so that Google does not really change them. And there are some best practices in there as well, and some interesting, I'd say, Google's recommendations on how to write better titles according to them. Now that's the keyword, according to them. So make sure to read it. Of course, the link will be in the description, and make sure to let me know what your thoughts are about the entire ordeal with titles being rewritten in the search results. So that's one interesting update. Coming to the next interesting update is about, again, Google is trying to introduce or developing a big moment feature in breaking news. So if you follow breaking news a lot, you might know that a lot of times breaking news does come out on Twitter first, or maybe other social media first, and then the blog posts and the stories start coming out. So if you want to be really on the edge, then most of the time Twitter is the place to be. So Google is trying to develop a feature where they would also kind of report these big moments in Google search. So how this will play out from a UX or UI perspective, where will the source information come from? Because Google does not technically generate data or generate information. It just curates and displays information from other people. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. But again, interesting to see what Google is trying to do in terms of search. Coming to the next interesting update is about Google Ads, or I say Google Keyword Planner. So if you have used Google Keyword Planner for SEO or Google Ads, you might see an interesting new couple of columns in Google Keyword Planner, which is about the trend percentage, or how the trends have changed, positive or negative, and also if the trend is up or declining or rising. So these are interesting things to look at. Usually you just get this graph to look at to understand how the trend is performing, but the percentage definitely is a good help in understanding whether you should be bidding on the keyword or we should be targeting the keyword from an SEO perspective. A tweet that also came out from Carolyn Linden, and I think it's a small experiment, or at least they call it as a small experiment. So this might stay here for a long time, or this might go away. So make sure to check it out. If it's useful, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Coming to the next interesting story about an interesting clarification which came from John Mueller, of course. So the question was, why is there a difference between reporting data for Google Discover traffic in Search Console and Google Analytics? Now, if you remember a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple of months ago, I don't remember exactly, I did report that Google started reporting Google Discover traffic in Google Analytics, but the source was, I think, direct traffic or something like that. So the question was, why does Search Console and Analytics, or Search Console and Google Analytics differ when it comes to Discover reporting? So there are a lot of technical details what John Mueller clarified here. So I'll just give you the bottom line here. The bottom line is, when you're looking at Discover traffic, always consider Search Console's data to be more accurate, not Google Analytics. So of course, if you want to read about all the details, links will be in the description to this particular story as well. And that brings to the conclusion of this week's weekly WordPress news. If you like this series, if I save you some time, make sure to leave a thumbs up and leave some feedback for me in the comments. And of course, if you want to watch these videos weekly basis on every Monday, then make sure to subscribe. The button right there, and also turn on notifications so you can get notifications about whenever we upload this video, and also some interesting WordPress tutorials that we do on our channel. Make sure to check out some other videos that I'll place on the screen right here. Also click the subscribe button, which should appear somewhere right here. You're listening and watching Yuvraj on the Brainstorm Force channel. I'll catch you in the next week's video, or some videos in between. Take care and stay safe.